not at all. I mean, I assume we're going to go mostly off of the question list you sent, right? Yeah, please do.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 46 of Some Random. I am your host, Sriracha Flash, and with me today, the beautiful, the wonderful, the getting better looking by the day, A4Andre. Dre, how's it going, man?
What an intro. I'm good. I'm well. How are you?
I am like I said before we got started here. I'm better now that I'm talking to you. My day has gotten exponentially better, so I'm happy that you're here. See, this is how we start the show. I like to gas up the guests a little bit, get you guys all feeling good and proud of yourself, because I don't want the show to start on a sour note. So I always try to make the guests feel good at first. But anyways, man, I'm really happy that you're here, and yeah, excited to get this started.
It's great to be on. I have to ask, as I'm looking at the character select screen, who's going to be, like, who's the last character? Who's the Seth? Who's coming out next?
So Seth, character 47, is going to... So, alright, so there's actually an addendum that's being made, and I'm happy that my web developer's here, because he's going to have to figure this out with me, immediately afterwards. So in the middle here, you'll see two idol pictures. That's Haley and Jay, members, that the TOs that run Michigan Masters. So we're going to condense that to one picture, because they were on an episode together. But the next person will be Amanda Stevens. She'll be on Tuesday. She runs the Neutral, her podcast and stuff like that, and so she'll be the next character slot. But then the final character slot will be Dougie. He's a TO here in Michigan, and that will wrap up season 1. And then season 2 starts with unknown guests, because I haven't planned that far ahead yet, which is like in 2 weeks. So I need to fucking get my shit together as soon as possible. But yeah, other than that, that's... You are the penultimate guest of season 1. And I couldn't be happier to have you here, my friend. But Dre, why don't we get started? Tell the people, who the hell are you?
I'm Andre, A4Andre. I'm a washed up Street Fighter player. I was okay in Street Fighter 4. I got to travel. I went to Scotland and played in some tournaments outside the U.S. and played in a lot of tournaments here. Go to Evo every year. Competed in my local scene since 2001, but now I'm more known for my broadcasts on Twitch. I host the A4 Arena, which is a Street Fighter tournament every Sunday. Yeah, man, I guess that encompasses all of it. I'm just a dude playing Street Fighter on the internet. It's a good question.
I mean, that's most of us, so don't even worry. All right, you said you went to Scotland and competed?
Yeah, I went to, so the largest tournament, well, I don't think it is anymore, but in Street Fighter 4, the Street Fighter 4 era, the largest tournament in the UK was called Hype Spotting. It's a tournament in Scotland. The year that I went, Takedo, Mago, I think were first and second. Man, I couldn't tell you who was third, fourth, fifth, but just a lot of talent there. Obviously, like Problem X, I'm Still a Daddy, all the players you know I'm sure we're there. I lost to Bolt Strike, who's still really good, tremendous Vega player. Um, yeah, really talented out there in Scotland.
Oh man, that's I've always wanted to go to a foreign event. Like I see Stunfest and what the Brussels Major or Brussels Challenge, and then the Celtic
Yep.
Throwdown, like the one in Ireland. Those are the ones that I'm always
Yeah,
like, man, that's bucket list shit. Those are the ones I want to go to.
you have to go. You have to go. I was fortunate enough that my trip was paid for, so that was like a feather in the cap. But now that I'm not as good as I used to be, I either have to, put together a commentary reel or pay for my own trip. But either way, I'd love to do some bucket list stuff. Would be like, let's see. I guess Evo Japan definitely first attack. I've never been to Puerto Rico, and as a Puerto Rican, I'd love to do that. But yeah, hype spotting was tremendous. Scotland was gorgeous. I definitely recommend it.
Oh man, I can't wait. I was planning on doing like the Dominican Republic one. Goddamn,
Mhm.
which one is it? This year, but it's looking like I might just have to limit myself to like Michigan Masters, Combo Breaker, and then maybe one other one, maybe CEO. And I think that might be my limit this year for events. But soon I want to go to a foreign one before I end fucking whatever this is that I'm doing. I'll end up going. Um, so I've always wondered what is the A4 in A4 Andre? Where does the name come from?
That is a fantastic question. So there's a lot of people. I don't know if you've seen. I mean, obviously, Rob, who reps A4. We have a fantastic community full of talented people, and now we like to joke that it means all four. So when Rob's competing in the King of the Junkyard tournament, we all watch, we all support him. He played in Tampa Never Sleeps and ended up getting top eight. But his match to get in top eight, we were all watching, cheering, and we'd like to think of just a community of people. Started in Street Fighter and then played battle royales and now is sort of hanging out and just chatting Twitch. But we're just a group that's like all for supporting each other. So now it means all for. But where it came from is a much better story than that. I worked at Best Buy and I was selling TVs. I was really good at it. I sold all the TVs. I was like ranked in the Best Buy salespeople. I'd look up my numbers every day, and my boss was kind of a tightwad. And we're in the parking lot. He's leaning against his pickup truck, and I'm leaning against my Audi. I have a 1999, maybe a 98 A4. And we were having this discussion about the amount of TVs I sold, and my boss is like, you've been killing it. And I'm like, I very much appreciate that. I work really hard. And I wanted to discuss with you, an increase in pay. And he looks right at me and he says, you don't need a raise. You're A4Andre. Because the card, I guess, I don't know. I don't really know I
What
guess
the fuck?
he was trying to talk me out of a raise by saying, you already have an Audi, you have an A4, you don't need any more money or A4 Andre. And then when I got into Twitch, my younger brother's name is Alex, and I saw him once. He was in his room and he had his webcam on and he was playing Battlefield. And I'm like, why? I walk in the room and I'm like, are you recording? Like, why are you in here? And he was just like, I'm streaming on Twitch. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, is this some weird stuff? Are you into some like, and he's like, no, no, no. People just play video games. And, some people even make money doing it. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, I've been playing in tournaments since 2001. I know how little money there is in esports. And he's like, you've been out the game for a while. Let me explain Twitch. So the only reason why I preface that is because his name is Alex. My name is Andre. My mom picked the A names. And I was like, yo, I'll start a stream. I'll be A4 Andre. You can change your name to A4 Alex, and we'll have like a stream team, a stream family. I'll go live, and then when I end, you can go live, and then when you end, I can go live, and we'll just 24 hours a day. We'll just team, family, hang out this thing, and that's always what I really wanted. I always wanted a stream team, stream family, and I really got it. My brother unfortunately doesn't stream anymore, but yeah, I've made a new family here on Twitch. There's so many great people, so many talented individuals that are part of the community. I'm just happy to have found my Twitch family, to found my internet friends.
Well, I mean, you guys run thick as thieves, man. It seems like every time that we have when you were in the first junkyard, and even the second one, and when like A4 Rob, like the whole entire A4 family like comes out and shows out, and it's really really awesome. And even like when you run the A4 Arena, and every single stream that you have, it seems like every single A4 member is there hanging out, like having a good time, and like all super solid people, like contributing like decent, like thoughtful things to the conversation. It's really, really like one of the more impressive groups of people I've seen in the online scene, to be honest with you.
It's
It's
really nice to hear. That's really kind.
it, I only say nice things. Jesus Christ, stuttering over my words. I only say nice things because it's absolutely true, man. It's one of those rare things that you see in a community where like I I don't think there's a shithead in the group that's a legitimate shithead. Like there's no one that I wouldn't want to hang out with from the A4 family. With maybe Rob if he keeps using that fucking New Jersey Abigail skin. I can't stand that thing.
Oh my god, that skin is the worst. The color he picks with no lips. Oh, I hate it so much.
It's like no lips, no eyebrows, like denim shirt and jeans. It's the fucking worst.
So bad.
I hate
So
that
bad.
thing.
Rob,
But
when Abigail first came out, Rob and I would always play the mirror. I loved him when he dropped, and Rob always picked that skin. And I'm like, this is why we're not real friends. This is why we can only be friends on the internet. It makes me so mad. But no, I've met Rob a couple times. He's a great dude.
yeah, he's always been super chill. I love that guy. I can't say anything bad about him with the exception of his Abigail skin. So that's a feather in his hat. I guess that answers how did the A4 clan get started, but how did the A4 arena get started? This giant tournament. I think it's probably the largest or second largest online tournament in the Northern America.
Yeah, I have to tilt my hat. We're talking about feather in the cap a lot, but I have to tilt my hat to Joe Monday. His tournament is by far the largest. Every once in a while, we'll catch it and sometimes pass it. And I believe we started first. Joe will have to correct me if I'm wrong on this one. But so the story is when Ultra Street Fighter 4 first came out, it was around the time I started streaming on Twitch, and it had tournament mode. Now, this mode is not something you see in Street Fighter 5, unfortunately, but tournament mode was a blast. The reason why I prefer it to lobbies, and no one from Capcom is listening to anything we say, but just in case someone's listening from Capcom, the lobby system is flawed in that you get Rob or you get yourself, you get any good player in the lobby, and they're going to win and run the lobby, which means they get to play consecutive games, and the people watching will get through to the end of the line. And that can feel like Disneyland for players who aren't as good, right? This tournament mode was really straightforward. It was basically a battle lounge, right? You've got 8 players in it, and it sets off 2v2, v2, v2. Very straightforward. They have it in Tekken now. So you just play through a tournament mode, and then everyone really gets a chance to play. And the most you're waiting is, 2, 3 games. You're not watching the same guy play over and over again, and it really encourages the sort of community that I imagine is going to be a reoccurring theme in this podcast. Just the idea of these A4 friends playing together, hanging out, having a good time. So this tournament mode is something that we really, really love. We played it every night on stream. I got good with a bunch of different characters. It was good practice, but more importantly, we just had fun playing the game. It was a blast. Fast forward, we've done, for the first 6 months, 3 months of me streaming, we've done tournament mode every night. Someone goes, why don't you actually throw a tournament? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not really sure how I would do that. I've been part of the Colorado fighting game scene. So I think the first one we actually did on paper brackets, because that was the only way I knew how to run brackets. So we threw together a paper bracket, and we had a bunch of people, and it was a surprising turnout. And someone said, are you going to do it again next week? And I thought, fuck it, let's do it again. And we've been doing it ever since. And we did it, all through the end of Street Fighter 4, through the beginning of Street Fighter 5. You look at my challenge page, there's probably 1,000 tournaments in there, but we've been doing it for a long, long time. And it really started out as just a community thing where friends got better at the game, but eventually it evolved into sponsors reaching out to me. We're talking to somebody now, I can't say too much, but a pretty big sponsor. And we had a large sponsor before, which is where A4 Punk came from. It's funny because when we were watching Capcom Cup, everyone was like, IDOM and Punk, isn't that what the A4 Arena used to be? And yeah, it used to be. A lot of the great players you see now spent every week in the A4 Arena before that. So like Denka Diaz used to play pretty often, Punk and IDOM, Joey 900, just so many talented players have walked through the A4 halls, and we're happy to have them every week. But, it just started out as friends, but then money sort of got into it, and the size of it grew. The tournament just grew exponentially, and we're proud that it's gotten so big, but it was never really a goal for me to have a massive cash prize tournament. It was just people became interested in it. So now it's sort of scaled back down, and it's a community thing again. But yeah, the A4 Arena is one of my more proud accomplishments. We have a fantastic event every Sunday. I'm always excited to put it on.
Yeah, every Sunday, like outside of football season, like if the Packers aren't playing at 4 o'clock, I'm like, all right, well, we're watching the arena in the living room. And like no shit, like all football season, I'd be like, oh fuck, it's 4 o'clock. I'm gonna turn the arena on. So like
Uh,
the kids are sleeping or like my wife's taking a nap, and I'm like, well, you might want to go in the other fucking room because this is what we're watching. Uh,
how'd the Packers do? I don't
uh,
watch the ball sports.
so the regular season 13-3, kind of fraudulent. We only had like 3 wins over winning teams, and 2 of them were over the same team. And then we kind of shit our way through the divisional round, and then we lost by like 40 in the conference championship game. So we're out of it. Niners Chiefs Super Bowl. Congratulations to the fucking Niners. Fucking. Listen,
So mad?
I'm not here to get salty. The last time that I got really upset about a football game, I lost my appendix. So like I can't.
No shit. That's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
In 2000 and sorry everyone, I'm gonna tell this quick story. 2012, I think it was 2012 season or 2013 season. The Packers and Seahawks had this game. It was when the replacement refs were there because for whatever reason the refs were on strike because their union deal didn't get worked out, whatever the fuck. So they had these interim refs. The interim refs were like high school level refs who hadn't been refereeing football that long, and like the ones who had were like assigned to other games, like not important games. So at the end of the game, Packers Seahawks. Packers are up. Seahawks throw like a touchdown. Golden Tate and I believe Tramon Williams comes down with it. I'm probably wrong, but and Tramon Williams plays for the Packers. Simultaneous possession. The one ref waves off the touchdown. The other ref gives a touchdown. They end up awarding it to the Seahawks. And I am just fuming mad and drunk and just upset for no reason over this fucking football game. And then I think it was seeing the Seahawks players be like, it was legitimate, there was no question. Fucking Golden Tate and Russell Wilson. I got so angry. I woke up the next day and I was like in intense pain. I was just like, I just need to go to bed. And I woke up and I couldn't touch my side. It was really bad. Next thing I know, I'm in the hospital. My appendix had burst. So I just assumed that I had gotten so angry over this fucking game, shit went wrong, and there it is. That's the football story. Someone asked in the past, and I never told it, but now I fucking there it is. I care too much about fucking football. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you do. That is too much.
I carry that same intensity to like playing fighting games, and that's why I fucking squander around in Diamond now and never do anything successful. But yeah, so that's that. So yeah, fuck the Packers, fuck the Niners, more essentially. But so there's that. But yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, Sundays I watch the A4 Arena. It's always fucking good. Sucks that I haven't got to play more, but usually by that time I was either too drunk from watching the Packers game or Packers were playing. So I was like, this is just a watching season during football time. Right. But so one of the things that I wanted to ask though, because you've cultivated a very I don't know if large is the term because it's not like you guys are covering like multiple players all over the place, but a very like deep and connected community within the A4 community. Whereas a bunch of people who just kind of have like a hangout with their online communities, what do you think the value is of having like that A4 family is compared to like a group, a professional team, I guess, where it's just like this is our team of players versus this is our online community of people who hang out and talk every day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much value is there an echo? Can you hear me twice or no?
No, I got you fine.
Okay. I don't know how much value there is in just having the A4 name, but I'll tell you what it means. I'll tell you what it means to me, and what it means to other people is that Twitch is unforgiving. The fighting game community is unforgiving, and sometimes it is very hard, as you know, to level up in these games or in these spaces. So, if you are new to fighting games and you know how to throw a fireball and you can uppercut and you've got all the basics down and you can beat up all your friends, where do you go next, right? Is there a place for you to exist? What is the new Challenger Discord? The new Challenger Discord is something fantastic. And huge shout out to them. They've sort of created what A4 was previously. We just never called it what it was, which was like a new group for people learning how to play Street Fighter. But it has always been a welcoming space, whether you're struggling with how to put together the basics of fighting games, or how to branch out from the basics to the intermediate difficulties of fighting games, or even the same thing with streaming. I mean, you're streaming on Twitch and you can't get viewers. No one will watch you. Well, there's a lot of people who are also streaming on Twitch who can't find viewers. It's like, how do we I play people all the time in Street Fighter that beat me, so I know people are better than me, and I watch streams where people are more successful than me. How do I get people to watch my streams? How do I improve at these things that are seemingly so saturated and so competitive? Well, A4 is simply that. It's a space in which you can network with people, talk about your stream, talk about your Twitch, talk about your the newest character that came out, your Gil or your Abigail, and really just connect with someone and figure out what is the tech. How do we how do I go from step zero to step one? How do I go from step one to step two? And in the end, I'm the figurehead for it. So you can come to me and be like, oh, you're a Twitch partner, or you're a guy who's traveled to a tournament or won your local or whatever the accomplishment is. That if I can share any information, obviously I will. But more importantly, there's a vast group of people. There's hundreds of people with A4 in their name. Back in the Steam days, when you could change your name on the PC Street Fighter 4 version, we had like 300 people with A4 in their name who would just rep it, and they would play long sets with each other. And if you ran into someone on Steam who had A4 in their name, you just knew this person will play long sets with me. I can message this person. I can improve. So it's basically that network. It's that social support net. It's that group that when you go live will come watch you. It's your cheering section. It's your rival. I think it's very important for leveling up in competitive or saturated fields, just to have someone to talk to, someone to instead of your viewer count being zero. They're the crew that watches each other. They're the crew that helps each other level up. They're playing Rainbow Six Siege right now. There's a few people in the Discord. It's a community that really supports each other regardless of the endeavor.
That's a much more eloquent answer than I even thought of in my head. But I mean, you're 100% right, and everyone has been super cool. Like I said, ever since I've known you, everyone's been very welcoming, very honest. People show up and show out in streams, everything else, with practice and all that. And that's super super cool. I had no idea that the A4 family was that large, especially in the Street Fighter 4 days. I Looking back on it now, wish I would have found you guys and connected back then when I was just a lonely shithead just going through arcade mode over and over and over. Probably would have been deeper into Street Fighter 4 than I was. But no, that's incredible, man. I come from online because I don't have a local scene. So like the closest local scene to me is about an hour 45 away. And that's like through back roads and shit. There's no like highway driving. I live in the woods in northern Michigan. Like I'm the weird lonely podcaster in the fucking woods doing these online calls all the time. And so my community's online. So like I found the RSF online, and then eventually that led me down to the A4 path. And so for me, it's really hard to become ingratiated into some communities where like some people are just kind of prickly. But both yours and RSF have, with open arms, been like, hey man, come fucking hang out, play games. Like, we're going to kick the shit out of you for a while, but you'll learn something. Which is something that I greatly appreciate. So thank you. Thank you for putting this thing all together for us to get together in the first place. But then also fucking continuing to keep it going. And being funny as hell the whole time. I think that's the number one thing that I appreciate about you is being able to bring levity to situations that are serious, with being able to make people laugh and understand exactly what's happening at all times whenever you're talking about it. I think that's a really good quality, and you do that really well. Not to kiss your ass too much, but hey, it's fucking.
I'll take it. I don't.
But yeah, man, that's really really cool. But with you doing all that, with the streaming. Running the A4 arena, running the A4 community, and I know that your dad, Little Dre, just had his wrestling tournament the other day, if I remember right.
Yeah.
How do you balance all that? Like, what is your schedule, and what do you like? Do you have like, this is my time frame for doing this, this, and this? Like, is it hard set, or you just kind of go with the flow as it goes?
Yeah, so I find myself pretty busy. So every morning this probably answers the question later, but every morning I wake up and I go open up the gym. I work at a mixed martial arts gym. I'm an IRL Street Fighter too, but I open that gym up at 7 a.m. And then I work from 7 to 3, and then at 3 I come home and usually make some food and then set up my stream. That is Monday through Thursday, and then Friday through Monday I pick up Little Dre. So Tonight, thankfully, there was no wrestling meet, but tomorrow there will be a wrestling meet, and I have a podcast after that. It's constant go go go. I'm doing a political podcast tomorrow night, which I'm excited to do. So I've been pretty active in that space. But yeah, I mean, it's as you know, it's difficult to balance your passions and still get work done and keep a roof over the family's head. But I honestly just think it's utilizing time and you're balancing not just a budget but a schedule. So it's very important that I get to work on time and early. It's very important that I leave work on time or early. It's very important that I get home and start stream on time or early. And I have to apologize to my stream crew because my streams been lacking a little bit lately with the consistency. But in the past, I guess it was 2018 to 2019, I streamed 420 days in a row. We started the goal was a whole year, 365 streams in a row, but we ended up doing over 420. And then eventually, at some point, my girlfriend was like, you're gonna need to take a break." So shout out to her for being so patient and giving me the time and space to create this community and this content. But yeah, just stay busy, stay hungry. So I told you before we went live, you were asking about a gift for a potential video game to use for the tweet, but I don't really play any games anymore. If it's not stream related, I don't play games. I don't have time. I erased all that stuff from my iPad and my phone. I don't, if I'm not sitting in front of this computer broadcasting, I'm not playing games. So, it's I guess my only suggestion for would be creators who are also parents like yourself and me is, maximize your time. Don't lay in bed on your iPad. Don't, watch one more episode of Netflix. You know what I mean? Give yourself enough breaks. Enjoy the shows and the television, and the movies that you enjoy. But when it's done, get to work. I think is the most important. I guess point to stress about time management and content creation while being a parent.
Yeah, no, that's super important. That's something that I've had to buckle down with because my wife is super understanding about streaming and shit like that and like practice for tournaments and whatever. But there was a point where I was like, man, I don't feel like I'm giving enough of myself to her and the kids, and it really like it bothered me for a little bit. Where I was just like, man, maybe I'll just fucking just stop with fighting games. It's just a drain on resources, right? It's a drain on money, time, all that
Mm-hmm.
other stuff. But I kind of sat down and talked with her about it, and she's like, "It's something that you love." She goes, "Maybe if because she didn't feel that way. I thought that I was like creating a rift in the relationship." But she's like, "It's fine, like no big deal." So like she helped me kind of structure like these are times that you should practice and like do this, but like from the time I get home until I'm live doing this, like streaming or practice or anything like that, like that's family time. Like there's from 4 o'clock when I get home until 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock when she goes to work. Like that's family time. And then when she gets home, I put the kids to bed. I take a short nap. I wake up when she gets home at like midnight, and then I hang out with her for an hour or two. Then I go to bed, go to sleep, wake up, go to work, and start it all over again. Like that's the schedule every day. That way, like we can spend time together and shit like that. But it really is, like you said, put I don't know. There's lots that you have to put aside, but like get to work, get paid, get that shit done, but make sure that you have time for your family, and it's super important. Um, yeah, I have a lot of respect for you doing it because sometimes, man, I'll see your stream and it's like 4 or 5 hours long. I'm like, God damn, he is a marathon runner because I do like 3 hours and my voice is shot. I'm like, just my eyes are bleeding. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is a lot. So I knew loosely that you had worked at an MMA gym, but I didn't know much about it. Do you mind if we dig into that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. But the only asterisk being, don't call my don't call my job. I have some recently people have like no, I shouldn't say people. I've had a couple instances. The longer you stream, the bigger you get, the weirder things get. I've had people like send order pizzas to my house and like call my phone and like send me like my own information. So it gets a little weird. But I'm pretty open about what I do. I work at an MMA gym in Denver. It's been open since '95. I've been there for about 8 years, teaching for six, I think. And I started out as just a working the front desk, helping clean up, and then after a couple of years of that, I started teaching strength and conditioning classes because I have a background in personal training. I actually got certified to be a personal trainer when I was in high school, my senior year. I finished my certs, so it sort of fit. I was obsessed with MMA at the time. I loved MMA. This is sort of like the Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, original Ultimate Fighter era. And I was so into mixed martial arts, and shopping around for gyms, and I was a huge fan of Ken Shamrock, and I saw this gym in Denver, and they had pictures of Ken on the wall, and the owner was telling me stories about how they knew each other, and ever since then I've been hooked. So 6 years, started out with strength and conditioning. So let's say for 2 years I was at the front desk, and then 2 years probably strength and conditioning in the past. For a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, teaching and learning. I've competed quite a bit. That's another thing that I've done. Traveled to compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Was once fifth in the nation. Have won tournaments. So they break them down skills. So instead of fighting games where they're just open bracket, they do beginner, then novice, then intermediate, and then advanced. I've won all of those divisions. Advanced, I think, is supposed to be for black belts, but I've competed in and won all those divisions in Colorado, and then competed for the World Team Trials. I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago, and got fifth at the World Team Trials. So I guess you could say washed up fighting game player, washed up IRL fighter, but I still do it as a day job. It's just yeah, I'm not the stud I used to be. Just getting 34th birthday yesterday. I'm getting old. Too old to fight.
Hey, well, happy birthday. I fucking look, 34 is not 34 is like the new like you're finally an adult. Like you're just getting settled in.
Yes.
This is the beginning of your adult life, man.
But MMA years are dog years.
Yeah, that's fucking true, man. Jesus Christ in heaven. Look at guys like even Sage Northcutt, who's like 20 now, I think, but that motherfucker looks like he's 30. Like shit's just happened to him.
How old is Israel Adesanya? That's one of my favorite guys. And he's super young. Let's see.
Izzy's like
24. Which he
24?
says 30. He's 30.
No fucking way he's 30.
He's 30. I thought he was younger. He looks young.
Yeah, fucking black don't crack. That's what that is. Jesus Christ in heaven.
That's for sure.
Oh my god. That's all right. So, man, I didn't realize that you had competed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments and stuff like that. That's fucking awesome. I'm assuming, since you said you competed in advance, so you're black belt?
No, my gym doesn't do any belts. We don't even really have a jiu-jitsu program. We're just a mixed martial arts school. There's a lot of, it was founded by, so in Colorado, we have the Olympic Training Center, and the owner of the gym, Sheldon, used to teach judo at the Olympic Training Center, and then he moved down to Denver to open up a school, and he was teaching judo, and started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And this is in the early 90s, before it was even called MMA. It was called NHB, No Holds Barred. And this is after the first couple of UFCs, which happened in Denver. He came down and opened up a school, and he'd just been kicking ass ever since then. I work really closely with his son, who's a phenomenal fighter here in Colorado. And I was pretty good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I kicked ass, but we don't really do belts or testing. We used to do a lot of belt stuff, and we definitely do it for the kids, but most of the adults and myself train no-gi, which means we don't wear the like pajamas when we train. We don't really have belt seminars. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could. I guess I could ask for a belt, but it's, what's the phrase they say? The belt only covers a couple inches of your ass. You got to cover the rest.
Yeah, exactly.
The belt never really meant much to me. I've tapped out black belts and been tapped out by white belts, so the belt never meant much. I think the last belt I got was blue, which is like the first. It's been a while, but yeah, fuck the belts. I used to kick ass and still can, but you get athletes that wrestled all of high school 4 years and wrestled in college all 4 years. You're talking about they've been training for 8 years in wrestling. And they're in their early 20s. It's tough to hang with these kids, man. They're strong, they're fast, they're smart.
I wrestled for a couple years in high school. My sophomore, junior, and senior year. Senior year got cut short by some circumstances, but that's where I learned to start really getting into that stuff, because I watched the early days of the UFC. So when Tank Abbott and Don Fry were fighting. Sure. Those are my fucking dudes. And then later on when early Vitor Belfort came in and won over he won over Randy Couture when he cut his eye with his glove. He didn't actually knock him out, but Couture's eye was cut, so they were he gets the belt. That was the no known weaknesses era of Vitor Belfort. So that was wild shit. And then I got into wrestling and so I think that's kind of helped me with my conditioning as I got on later on. But since then, it's been all fucking beer and potato chips. That shit's long gone. But now
that's the way to go. Beer and potato chips are the life. What were you gonna say now?
Oh no, that's okay. But my friend who wrestled for I think 6 years, my good friend Bob, he still has it, man. And he every day, and he's I want to say a good 80 pounds smaller than I am, and a good 6 inches. And he can drive me into the fucking ground all day, every day. It never left him. The guys that keep on it and keep after it after high school and like into college, it's fucking impressive. I have much respect for those guys. I can't.
There's a lot of killers in that arena. A lot
Yeah.
of killers.
Yeah.
In the wrestling and the all mixed martial arts really. Just there's some destroyers out there, and I was never when it comes to like that's tough. I always try to like gauge my skills. It's a lot like my fighting game career on a local level. I was always really good, right? So for Colorado, you can imagine Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu wasn't as big as it was now, 5 years ago, and for Colorado, I was sort of a destroyer, and that's you could say that true with fighting games in the Street Fighter 4 era. Is like in Colorado, I was phenomenal, but on a national scale, people get these scenes. It's a lot like fighting games. The East Coast and West Coast. They iron sharpens iron. Is that what it is? Steel sharpens steel.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the close knit communities and the competitive nature of the people in these communities just makes them phenomenal athletes. So it was always hard to compete nationally, but locally, it was pretty good.
The fucking best in Denver, baby. Look, I'll give you that title. I'm allowed to.
Washed up in both, but at some point, I certainly was.
Well, look, I watched a documentary about the Denver airport. Therefore, I'm an expert on Denver. I'm allowed to give you this crown, so it's fine. You guys got like a government bunker and shit beneath that airport, so I'll award the title. It's fine.
I'll take it.
I have that power. Well, all right. So I don't. Sorry, everyone that expected fighting games and shit, but this is about me and Dre, so fuck off. So I've got some questions like about MMA and shit like that because I'm very very much into it. I enjoy watching all the fights.
Sure.
Like I said, I've been watching it for a long time. So we got UFC 247 coming up. We've got John Jones and we got Dominic Reyes for the light heavyweight belt. How do you see that one going?
Oh, it's tough. I would love to root for Reyes. Reyes is 12-0. He's a phenomenal fighter. Anything's possible, man. But when you think of GOATs, when you think of sure, outside the cage, John Jones seems to be a shitty individual who makes bad decisions as often as he can. But inside the cage, he's actually, I used the word destroyer earlier, but he is. Whew, do we cuss on here? He is a motherfucker. John Jones is scary, scary good. I don't know. I think Dominic perhaps could beat John Jones in a couple years, but I don't know if he's ready just yet. Do you believe he can pull off the upset? I don't think it's likely.
No, I don't think he can. It's just like the next event up, which I think is like next Saturday. So it was topical and on my mind. I think I think they're just looking for a fight to get John like back in and headlining because it feels like Reyes is kind of rushed into this one.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's good though.
Yeah. Oh,
12-0.
Yeah,
he's
super good. Who's that other young kid? Johnny Walker. That he either just fought Jones or was gonna fight Jones or John went through him.
I forget. Who was John's last opponent? Dude blew out his leg. I forget.
Yeah. It might have been fucking old. God damn it. I'll never remember. But no, man. Like I remember when John fought like Lyoto Machida. And he choked him out standing, and that was the scariest submission I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, he choked him out upright up against the cage and let go, and Lyoto Machida just folded.
Yeah.
He looked like wet paper as he fell to the ground.
I remember being like, oh, his head is detached from his body. Like, they have to stop this because that's a dead man in the cage. And then he just dropped him, and I was like, oh, shit. And then...
that's jiu-jitsu.
yeah, it's crazy. Anthony Smith was his last opponent.
Thiago Santos was his last opponent.
Oh yeah, Thiago Santos. That's who it was. Jesus Christ, I'm looking at this. Yeah, thinking it was.
I might be wrong.
No.
Thiago Santos.
Yeah.
Anthony Smith was before that, I think.
Yeah. You're right. I'm looking at the record now. Yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, then there was the Vitor Belfort fight where Vitor broke his arm and he was like, well, I'm just going to walk through this until I can choke out fucking Vitor. Or not choke him out. I think that was an armbar submission.
Yeah, he had his arm locked up. Yeah. Pulled on it quite a bit. He didn't care. John Jones is like, I got a couple arms.
Exactly. Right. And then the Daniel Cormier knockout in the second fight was, I mean, that one got overturned because
Cormier. It's tough because John Jones is obviously flirting with those supplements, those Tijuana vitamins, but I feel so bad. Daniel Cormier is never going to be John Jones. It's a bad matchup. It's Dawson Zangief. If you can't win them all, man.
Yeah,
Sometimes that shit is just 7-3 or 6-4.
it really
DC is a 4-6 matchup against John Jones. You can't win that.
it really is. Like I've never cared for Cormier. There's just something about him that like seems off for me. Like it is what it is. But I remember after that match feeling really bad for him when they were like, how do you feel about the rivalry, going into a potential third match? And he was like, he beat me twice, there's no rivalry. And I was like, oh fuck, like that
It's true
hurts.
though, right? It's like, what do you want to see?
Yeah, like
You want to watch him lose again? There's no point.
yeah, like he dominated the first fight, knocked him out in the second fight. Like goddamn, like you can only do so much. Yeah, I
That's
was
how dominant he is. John Jones at heavyweight, though. Certainly excited for the potential there.
yeah. Oh my god, in heaven, like a heavyweight fight, I would love to see. I back in the day, everyone wanted to see like what him and Cain Velasquez go at it, which would have been
Sure.
incredible, or like him versus Junior Dos Santos, would have been another great one. But yeah, JDS is fucking that in his time, like when he had beat Kane and he was like a belt holder, he was awesome, man. But John versus anyone I wanted to see. Fucking Anderson Silva back in the day when Anderson Silva was knocking dudes out.
They
Like
really should have done that. They really should have done it. I don't know why they didn't.
they that was a huge opportunity missed that we'll never ever see, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Because when Anderson was going up to 205 and just like knocking dudes out, it was incredible. Like it was, we'd never seen anything like it before. Like he was dominating 185, he was dominating 205. Mind you, his fights were like
Just dog
Damien.
cheap dudes. Like,
Yeah,
he was putting champions to sleep.
yeah, it was bad. Like it was really bad. Like how well he was doing. Like the Stephan Bonner fight and like the Forrest Griffin fight that he had.
Poor guy. Forrest looks so bad.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
the Forrest was never the same after that. Like seeing him jog out of the ring after getting knocked out by Anderson Silva was like, that's rough. From like a fading away like jab to the face, which is like one of the most famous knockouts in the UFC history at this point. But yeah, man, it was, I don't know, that shit was, it meant something to me back then. It still does, but Anderson and John are talents I don't think we'll ever see again. I think Izzy Adesanya is on his way up there though. That
Yeah, he
dude,
wants to fight John Jones. He just said, I think today or yesterday, that if John moves to heavyweight, he'll just follow him there. They're like making plans.
man, I'll fucking watch it. Like
Yep.
100%, I'll watch it. Look, if Izzy can put like all Izzy probably has to do is like just not cut weight, and he can like register for 205. But like if Rumble Johnson can cut to 170, like I can see Izzy at fucking 20 like 210 for heavyweight, like absolutely.
I'd love to see that fight.
Goddamn. All right, never mind. No more UFC talk. I'm sorry, guys. I know I fucking been nerding out here for like 10 minutes, but when's the last time I get to fucking talk MMA with anyone on the show? Fucking never. So we've covered the A4 stuff, and a lot of your community and everything like that. But I want to get back to you. So besides running an MMA gym, being fucking surprising me with being a stellar athlete and competitor, what's something surprising about you that most people wouldn't know?
Um, yeah, I'm a pretty open book. I'm a vegan this year. It's been 30 days and I haven't had any meat. I would not recommend it. Meat is delicious and I miss it so much. I think the factory farming stuff is brutal. Everybody's seen those videos, and I think it's easier for some people to just kind of forget them and remember how delicious bacon tastes. But I don't know if I can eat animals anymore, man. This shit bums me out. So I thought this year I'd try and do something different, make a New Year's resolution. I've done pretty well so far. I do have the Impossible Whopper, which is sort of cheating. I mean, it depends on who you ask. Strict vegans will say it's cooked on the grill where the hamburgers are cooked, so it's coming into contact with animal products, so it is technically not vegan. I mean, I guess you could ask them to put some like tinfoil down, but I'm not that annoying, dude. I'm at Burger King, right? So thanks for working for minimum wage. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Could you
already full at Burger King at 3 a.m., so I'm not gonna like, can you put some tinfoil down? I never want to be that kind of vegan. But I haven't had any animals this year, no animal products. A while ago, when I first got into MMA, I'd actually done some reading into the benefits of being vegetarian, and I did that for an entire year. I've always sort of felt bad about eating animals, so I was a vegetarian for a year, but I ballooned up, and I got my coaches were very unhappy with me because I ate nothing but macaroni and cheese and Pop Tarts. So I got really big, and yeah, everybody was pissed off. But I did vegetarian before, and this year I'm doing vegan, and so far it's been good. In the beginning, I had a ton of energy. I felt younger and healthier, but I've sort of slumped into my old junk food vegetarian ways and eating trash. So just today, I picked up a bunch of veggies at the store, and I'm running out of meat replacements. All the meat replacements, they don't taste as good as meat, but they are very good. Unfortunately, they're not great for you, so I got to shake off some of those. But yeah, this year, no animals or animal products, so it's been cool. It's also been interesting trying not to be the annoying vegan because nobody at my job, full of tough MMA fighters, wants to talk about being vegan, and really my stream hates it too. Like I'll be in the I'll have 50 viewers, things will be going well, and then I'll start talking about being vegan and how meat is murder, and I just watch those numbers fucking plummet. People are like, "Fuck this guy, bacon's amazing." I get it. I understand. I understand.
Oh man! All right,
Yeah.
so like, all right, so no animal products. So we're like no milk, no eggs,
Mm-hmm.
no cream cheese. God
Cheese is
damn!
the big one. I miss it so much. Cheese is, whew,
Oh
fuck,
my
it's good.
god! That's like when I was doing keto and I did keto for I think 6 months, like a year ago, and I was in the best shape of my life. Then my fat ass was like, "Hey, remember beer?" But like when I was doing keto, my snack food was pork rinds and like spinach artichoke dip.
Sure.
Because that shit is like semi like low carb, but also like pretty fucking good. And I couldn't imagine if I was dieting like not having something fatty like that. Like that shit, man, Dre, I commend you, man, because that shit's rough.
Cutting weight and dieting is a lot easier with animal products. You can, I think proteins. I tell this to people ask me for cutting advice all the time, and it's really not that hard. If you pair every meal, 2 to 1 green, usually leafy vegetables with unprocessed protein, as long as it's not a hot dog, right? If we're talking like fish or chicken, lean meat in a vegetable, and what's interesting is you'll develop the taste for it. You'll start to crave, these vegetables and proteins. But spinach on its own, it's so gross. And kale is whack. I mean, it needs cheese or beef or chicken or something. So I'm having a hard time getting my weight right. But it's for a good cause, man. It's all in all, it's good for, the exploitation of animals kind of sucks, and also climate change and the environment. We use a lot of like land for grazing, and there are more chickens on Earth than there are people, and we've kind of got shit's gotten out of control. So I'm happy to be potentially part of the solution. And if I'm not part of the solution, it's just a silly, what's the harm, right?
Yeah, like
I'm a little hungrier, but
you're not hurting anyone by at least attempting. Like there's no shame
yeah,
in that. I will say the
right.
closest I've ever come to throwing one of my friends out of my house is when they brought over kale chips that they had just baked. I've never been more insulted in my fucking life.
Did you eat one? I bet they were nasty. I've never had
Uh,
ketchup, so yeah,
uh
gross.
all right, so fucking, it was like baked kale with like a lemon vinaigrette over the top of it, and he's like, "Dude, I swear, like you're gonna have this. It's gonna be so good. Just try this out."
No, 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 no.
Like it's almost fist fought him. Like I'm so fucking mad. Like how dare you? You it's coming to my
Don't lie to your
house.
friend. Don't lie to your friend and say that shit is good. It's not good. There's never a day that goes by that I would like rather have spinach than steak. Don't you gotta start by being honest, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like I was straight up. I was just like, man, like look, I'll respect you for like this the shit that you like. Don't ever fucking bring this to me and be like, I brought snacks over. Like fuck you. How dare you?
we have good food here. We don't need your vegetables, bro.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck, man? Oh shit. But no, man, that's super cool. I didn't realize that you were taking it that seriously and like that intensely. But no, fucking good on you. I don't have the heart to do it. I just had a chicken nugget sandwich yesterday. Like I don't know if I can give up my poor people food like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I bet it was incredible. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, I have the fake chicken. It's not any good. That's not what I was gonna say. Oh, for me, it also is a little bit of practice what I preach. I've been on these political podcasts, and I'm always talking about shit that like, we should do good. We should do good, and like you gotta contribute. If you're gonna say you care about the environment, you care about animals, you have to do it, right? Otherwise, you just look like a fucking hypocrite. So,
Right. It,
anyways, that's why.
no. That's perfectly fine. What's the political podcast you're doing tomorrow? We'll try to send people your way.
So Tomorrow I'm doing the Mind Waves podcast. That's a pretty big one. There'll be a couple hundred viewers. And I represent the Yang Gang. I represent the center. You know, I get called a grifter sometimes for trying to stay in the middle of politics. But I think it's super important to listen to people. A lot of people will hear views on one side or the other and completely disagree and sort of throw away the person. Like Silas and I have Silas is a soccer player. He probably doesn't want to be mentioned,
Yeah.
but fuck it. He and I have different political opinions, but I love the dude, right? So it's very important to me, regardless of how he votes, that our friendship stays intact and that I listen to his opinions because they have value, right? His perspective is different than mine. So politically, whatever way you lean, it's just I don't think you can have discourse. I don't think you get to talk if you're unwilling to listen. So sometimes I get shit about it about not being left enough. The right definitely doesn't want to claim me, but I try to stay pretty center. There's a politician I like right now, Andrew Yang. He's got a plan for universal basic income. Not everyone loves it, but the idea is that he'll give every American citizen $1,000 a month from the time they're 18 until the time they die, which is a really interesting perspective. But more important than that campaign promise is this notion of him saying he doesn't. It's important to not consider left. It's not to consider right. You know, this isn't about Barack Obama. This isn't about Donald Trump. It's about forward, right? Not left, not right, but forward. And I try to remember that whenever I get into these heated debates with other opinionated streamers on Twitch about politics. But I'm excited to do it tomorrow. It's not my first. I've done quite a few, but it should be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, hey, look, I'm looking forward to it. I'll try to be around. I don't think I have anything going on tomorrow night, so yeah, I will. I'll make sure to follow you.
Come by, say hello.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
be live.
definitely.
I'll be live. You can come by. I usually stream while I'm on him, but if not, the gentleman's name is Mind Waves. He's pretty big in the political space.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I feel like I don't want to be like, yeah, me too. Like I don't want to fucking ride your nuts on it, but I think being centrist is at this point in not. At this point in American history, I think being centrist is more important than choosing your left and right and defending your side vehemently, you know, without, like, listening.
Sure.
Too many things at this point, I feel, and this is painting with a very broad brush, so, like, people, please, like, forgive me, but, so much now, we have so many things that are, like, black or white, like, you choose this side, that side, or, like, that's the way you go, and it makes me very uncomfortable. I don't agree with that shit one bit. Because I hate this notion that, like, you chose this side, so therefore, like, everything is what you stand for. And that happens a lot with politics, where, like, you support, like, the left side or the right side, blue side, red side, like, they have a red tie, so you support everything the red tie says, right? Like, nah, man. It's just,
Right.
I
We have ideas, right? There's separate ideas, and just because you like a party or like the Packers, it doesn't mean you are a Packer. You
yeah,
identify with every decision. Like you have a Brett Favre tattoo, and you have to be committed to. Although it does seem like you're quite committed, not everyone is as committed to their favorite football team or political party. And like you said, that tribalism it can be exhausting. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
the,
find value in staying center.
yeah, that's, you know, and like you said, people get shit for, oh, like, you don't pick a side, but why do we have to? Like, why do we have to pick a side? Like, I don't
Doesn't seem
understand
important.
this.
Yeah, doesn't seem important to me.
Yeah, I would get if Brett Favre wasn't out sending dick pics to fucking cheerleaders, I might have got the tattoo, but he messed that one up, so that's on him. Can't be having no dick pics, all shriveled dick pic. Anyways, old ass Brett Favre. But no, man, that's super cool, and I'm happy that, like, you are using your platform to go out and speak on things and at least be intelligent and, like, be in intelligent conversations. There we go. Not like good job being smart, but like good job and, like, good on you for going out and having these conversations with people that I don't think a lot of people are willing to have or willing to at least try to have.
You ever get sick of the like Rashid dialogue on Twitter? That's what really motivated me for it. I get it. Rashid's broken, but it seems like there's bigger issues. You know, it seems like Street Fighter should be my fun space, and if we want to complain about shit, let's complain about big shit. You know, Twitter really motivated me. I was like, I'm done hearing about Rashid or G or when Abigail first came out, people were like, Abigail. It was like the biggest part of their lives was complaining about this Street Fighter character, and I just couldn't. I was like, I gotta go talk about something else.
Yeah, like that. Oh, fuck that. Dadman, it's Mind Waves, I believe. Mind Waves is the name of the podcast. Yeah.
I can find you.
But yeah, no, that's I. I can understand why that would push you that way. Like, that shit drives me nuts. The Abigail hate from, like, when season 3 started, when they were like, Abigail's mad strong, and like people just fucking poured that shit on. And I was like, man, like Jesus Christ in heaven, have y'all ever like been in the lab ever? Have you ever like have none of you ever
Yeah,
played a fighting like? You ever played Street Fighter
simple
Two?
functions.
Yeah, you ever played
Yeah.
Street Fighter Three like Third Strike and have to deal with Chun? Like, have you never played a fighting game before? But yeah, like the constant like Rashid and G and Abigail and like every character, Karen in last season was fucking nuts with how much people were just
And the
like,
characters are certainly broken, right?
yeah,
I'm not arguing that they're not broken. It's just exhausting to hear people complain about shit that doesn't matter. Are you having fun playing the game? No, then stop.
yeah,
Are you enjoying the game? Then continue playing it. And I get that there's some weight to saying that, like, hey, we'd like better netcode. But at this point, it's like, Capcom doesn't care, right? So who are you talking to, right? Because it seems like you're just wasting your breath. Maybe advocate for something else. Maybe do like the A4 awareness campaign and get sip chips to people at events so that they don't get fucking drugged. Maybe use your voice for something other than this like exhausting topic of how hard it is to be a Fong main. Like, okay, I'm not disagreeing with you. It's certainly Fong could use a buff, but if you're not going to get it, can we do something else? Can we talk about something else or no?
yeah. No, definitely, man. Well, shit. All right. So since those characters and that discussion has pushed you away, or not away, but into political discussion, what brought you into fighting games in the first place? What was your first fighting game? What brought you down this dark path with us heathens?
I have to compliment that segue. That was terrific. So I started playing Tekken 3. Tekken 2 was probably my very first. Everybody says their first fighting game. Tekken 2 was my first fighting game. I can remember. I played it a friend. Fuck, I can't remember his name, but we played Tekken 2 on the PS1, and he'd always beat me because I didn't know how to tech throws. Then in the Tekken 3 era, I started playing in the arcades, but just wasting quarters in arcade mode. Towards the end of Tekken 3, there was a player in the arcade named Smiles, who was like king of the Tekken community in this Aurora Mall tilt. I hit him with an unblockable in Tekken, which is like a super slow, obvious move, which you can usually sidestep or a crazy jump or just stay away from it. But I hit him with an unblockable and I beat him. And everyone was like, "Oh, you lost to this, this scrub," because I was doing scrubby shit. It was very scrubby shit, right? And they're like, "Oh, you just lost to him. He's a scrub." And I was like, "Oh, I beat him. I beat the god. I beat the." So that sort of got me into it. Tekken 4 out in the arcades, and we had a huge cabinet. It was a giant Tekken cabinet. It had a bench. It was the first sit-down fighting game cabinet we had. It had a ultra big screen, and then Tekken 4 had time to release. This is how I got hooked. It dropped with like 8 characters, 16 characters. This is before the DLC age. Once a week or once a month, whenever the fuck, they would just drop a new character, and everyone would come in and spin their characters and try and learn the new character. And it got me so into Tekken. I actually remember going to the library and printing out frame data because I wanted to learn how to play Marduk. I love the new characters. I loved Tekken 4. I was fucking hooked. So Tekken 4 in 2001 was when I first started competitively playing fighting games. A lot of the Colorado fighting game community knows me from back then. I was never a tremendous player, but I love the game and I put in a lot of heart and entered tournaments and went on into a bunch. And then it wasn't until, I guess, to fast forward into how we got here, it wasn't until Street Fighter 4 in 2009 when I really came back. I played Tekken 4 a lot. I played a little bit of Tekken 5 and just sort of grew away from fighting games, sort of started dating and becoming a young man. And then 2009, when Street Fighter 4 came back, everybody was buying arcade sticks. Everyone was playing fighting games again. It was the cool thing to do. And I ended up playing my best friend. He was like, Street Fighter 4 is the new game. You got to play it. So I ended up playing my best friend at a Game Crazy tournament, which was like Hollywood Video Game Crazy, I think it is. I played him at a Game Crazy tournament, and I played Sagat, and I lost, but I was hooked. I was like, this new Street Fighter game is incredible. I love the art style. I love it. This new Mad Cat stick. I got into stick modding. I'd never done that before, but I spent every day in the arcades, and I needed to figure out how to play on stick again. Everyone was using this smaller Japanese stick. I was used to a large American stick that was in our arcade, so I fell in love with the fight sticks. I fell in love with Street Fighter 4, and I really fell back in love with fighting games in 2009. And then you can fast forward to the story of my brother again, Alex, A4 Alex, being on Twitch. He was like, "Holy shit, do you think I could be on Twitch?" And he was like, "You used to be really good at arcade games, right?" And I said, yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. And he was like, you're good at Street Fighter 4? I'm like, oh, I'm kind of good. And he said, all right, well, let's go to Street Fighter 4 stream and have you play them. So the most popular Street Fighter stream at the time, um, 4 or 5 years ago, was probably Panda X Gaming. This was another community, sort of similar to my own back then, who had just a bunch of fighting game players and they'd run 24-hour lobbies, which is something I'd like to get back into. But regardless, I went on this stream and I entered the lobby with Zangief. I was a pretty good Zangief player in Street Fighter 4. And I joined the lobby. I beat everyone in the lobby. I get my first win, my second win, my third win. I'm yelling at my brother. I'm like, are they watching? He's like, yeah, they're watching. I'm like, cool. He's like, the viewers are up. It's like 100 viewers. I'm like, cool. I get wins. I beat everyone in the lobby. And then I run into, because he's in a different bedroom than where I'm playing, I run in and I'm like, is this it? Am I going to make a lot of money on Twitch? Am I going to be rich and famous? And he's like, I don't know, man. And I'm like, what do they think? And he's like, they're talking the most shit about you. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. They say that you're spamming green hand and SVD and you don't know what you're doing and you're jumping a lot and you suck. And I'm like, but I won. And he's like, yeah, but they're talking shit. And I'm like, oh, so it's bad. So I probably can't do this. And he's like, no, I think you'd be really good at this. He's like, I think people are going to come to your stream and say mean things, but people are going to want to watch you play Zangief. And he was right. I borrowed his streaming computer within the first like week. My viewers, it started out with just me and Nightbot, but then it grew. I started taking wins off of pro players. The first pro player I beat was F Champ, and I beat F Champ, and a bunch of people from his stream came to my stream, and they were like, "Fuck that guy! Like I hate F Champ. It's so cool that you beat him. I hate him." I'm like, "Why are you watching him if you hate him?" But so then I put Twitch in my name. This is long before anybody did the TTV stuff, which is now super popular, but I put Twitch in my name and would just wait for pro players to go online. So I'd have, PR Rog went live, I beat PR Rog. F Champ went live, I beat F Champ. And every time I would do it, I'd steal like a chunk of viewers. I was literally stream sniping before it was stream sniping. I was borrowing viewers from PR Rog and F Champ, and I sort of created my name in Street Fighter 4 by being a good player, but also by upsetting pros. And yeah, it's been a long journey of fighting games, but it's been such a fantastic part of my life, and it's brought me, to this current place where I'm so fortunate to have so many incredible people around me. This A4 community, I can't be happy enough with where I've ended up in fighting games. But it's a long road that brought us here.
Yeah, man. Well, you certainly put in the work. I didn't know the origin story. That's incredible. Especially warms my heart that you were playing Zangief, because like that's who I played in for. Zangief,
Yeah,
Hugo, Hakan, like those were my boys.
the
Uh,
grapplers.
yeah, always grapplers, man. I don't know what it is. I was actually just thinking about this the other day. I was like, man, I don't know why I gravitate towards grapplers. Like wasn't thinking about it. I was like, I just like like grappler characters. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like I just like command grabs. I think. And then I was just by chance like playing. Do you remember Donkey Kong Country 3 by any chance? I don't know if you were like playing games back then, but like DKC 3 had Kitty Kong, who was like this fucking ape character. I'll throw him up on screen now for anyone that doesn't know who the fuck I'm talking about. So Kitty Kong like lumbered around with these big ass arms, and when he would like swing on ropes, he was just like chugging his way along, and it never connected to me until then. I was like, oh, it's that feeling of Kitty Kong of like just fucking power my way through with these big ass arms, and like I'm gonna manhandle my way through, and that's why I play and love grapplers like Zangief, like back in Street Fighter 2, or like Birdie in Street Fighter Alpha 2 and like Alpha 3, and Zangief there, and Mika there. Like I just love grapplers.
They're so much fun.
Dude, it's the best. I asked Joe the other day like why he plays Zangief, and he had this really interesting answer about like it forced the opponent to play differently, and like it was really in depth. And meanwhile, my stupid ass was like, turn buttons, grapple. Like I like make command grab happen. Like that's my dumb ass. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Grapplers are cool as fuck. I think that's why I gravitated with Abigail. Like Abigail's like my favorite character of all time. He's just the best.
He's pretty cool. I like Abby a lot.
I love him. But like on my old ass playing games for a long time because I had nothing better to do. What got all this started? Did you have a first video game before Tekken 2 and everything like that? Was there a time where all this started?
No. Tekken 2. Yeah, so long before I had the PS2, at my house I got a Nintendo, the original Nintendo Entertainment System. and I got Mario 1 and Mario 3. I think I got the Nintendo when Mario 3 came out. I played Mario 3 nonstop, and it got me addicted to video games. It sort of was my first taste of the video game drug, and I was mostly hooked. I played my Nintendo constantly. My mom, hated that thing. Then I had a Sega Genesis. I didn't get a Super Nintendo. We were kind of poor, and I got the Sega Genesis a little late, a little later than all the other kids. But the one console and game combo that really hooked me before Tekken and fighting games was Super Mario 64. I'll never forget the Christmas that the system came out. I'd been used to not getting these systems and getting them late. The Sega Genesis was delayed. I was bummed out at, everybody had the SNES, and then they got the Sega, and then the year after that, I got the Sega. But the Nintendo 64, the year it came out, my mom wrapped up all the presents. It was Christmas, and I'll never forget. I'm a little boy. I open this Nintendo 64 controller, and I lose my mind. My mom's still, we're still poor. So she's wrapping the presents separate. I open the Nintendo 64 controller, and she says, unfortunately, the Nintendo 64 is too much, but I did get you the controller, and we'll save up, and we'll be able to afford the rest of the console later. And my little heart was heavy, and I'm like, fuck, we are poor, but maybe this means I'll get a game next, and then maybe I'll get the system next. And I don't know how she tricked me, but eventually by the end of Christmas, I opened all the presents. I didn't get a Nintendo 64. She's like, oh, I forgot this one, and then brings out the Nintendo 64. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm literally the N64 kid. I'm screaming. I'm like, have you seen that video? Oh my God.
Oh yeah, oh
like,
yeah.
Screaming about getting an N64. That's me. That's 100% that's me. I got Cruising USA, and I got Mario 64. I did not stop playing Mario 64. I remember that night I got in trouble. My mom's like, you need to turn the game off. And every night after I got in trouble, you need to turn the game off. I had a slumber party for my birthday. My birthday's in January, late January. So, I've had my Nintendo for about a month now. All my friends are like, we want to go to sleep. And I'm like, whatever. I'm drinking Surge. I stayed up all night. I stayed up 24 hours. Surge soda and Mario 64. I'm certain I got, 150 stars in the first week and was really just addicted. Cruising USA was fun. Star Fox was way better. But N64 was like the pivotal console for me. We can have an argument. I know a lot of people like PS2, but that was the one. That was the one that really ruined my life and got me hooked on this drug of video games. So the N64 and Mario certainly sucked me in. Long before I played PS1, Tekken 2, I was a junkie, man. I even remember later on I had a Game Boy Color. I remember I got in so much trouble because for like a month I had the Game Boy Color and I had Pokemon, which, who didn't play Pokemon, but I would play on the thing nonstop, and I would have my homework right next to me, and I would have the Game Boy Color in my hand. Maybe it wasn't a color. It was the purple one. It was the big purple one.
Okay.
And I would wait to hear my mom pull up in the driveway, and she would pull up, and I'd slide the Game Boy, turn it off, and slide it under the couch, and then pretend I'd been doing homework. And my grades were so bad when Pokemon came out, so bad when Mario came out. My mom was not pleased. But yeah, I've been a Nintendo junkie since then. It's translated. I have the Switch now and love Breath of the Wild, but it's translated to a fighting game addiction and now most currently a Twitch addiction. But that's certainly my first taste of the drug that I'm now hooked on.
Oh, man, look, you and me, the same fucking person with Nintendo, man. I know a lot of people argue the PS2 is the greatest system of all time and shit like that, but like the N64 and the Super Nintendo, like that was my era of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like Donkey Kong 64, Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong Racing, like all those games, man, they mean a lot to me. I think Diddy Kong Racing is probably my favorite of those, but like that was, I don't know, man. They were just awesome. And yeah, I did the same thing. I got in trouble for fucking too many games, sneaking games. I remember my parents got the Namco Museum collection for the PS1.
Sure.
When mind you, we were poor as shit too. Like my consoles were split up between like my dad and my grandparents, and then my mom and my stepdad. So depending on where we were, we got like,
had to chip in.
yeah, like, and so yeah, like shit was just split up. Like, it was never the same thing. But I remember my parents got a PS1. They bought Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and then the Namco collection. So like as kids, we were playing like the Resident Evil games with my stepdad. And we were like, this is the coolest shit ever. But then at night, I'd be too scared to play those games alone. So I would wait till everyone fell asleep. I would sneak downstairs and then I'd throw in like the Namco collection, and I was playing like Dig Dug and Pac-Man and shit like that because that was the only other game we didn't have that wasn't fucking terrifying for like 9-year-old, 10-year-old me. Uh, but like I don't know. Then we go to my grandparents and like we had the N64 and the NES and the Super Nintendo, and like those games were fucking those. Yeah, they meant a lot. They were really important, like pieces of my childhood and my era. So no, I'm with you 110%, man. Like the N64 is the way to go. At least that's
game changer.
It really was. Like the first time that I saw like Link and The Legend of Zelda in 3D, I was like, oh shit, like this is real. Like it blew me away. And then games like when Paper Mario came out, like later in life, I was like, how do you get better than this? Like Paper Mario's the shit.
Yeah.
I sucker for RPGs, man. Just an idiot. Bunch of time sinks. Well, hey, we're getting close to our last two questions. So this is usually where I throw it to the chat. If the chat has any questions for Dre, anything you want to ask him, please feel free to throw it at us within reason. Like, don't be fucking assholes, right? And we'll try to get to you guys' questions and stuff like this while I ask Dre these last couple questions. So Dre, you've been around the FGC for a long time. You've been streaming for a long time. You've been robbing victories and viewers off people for a long time and traveling. Do you have a favorite story that's come out of the FGC, whether it's about you or anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple really good ones. I'll give you a couple since we're getting close to wrapping up, and you just let me know if we run on time a little bit. I used to run before, man. I feel like I'm at Rivalry with Joe Monday, but when I say Rivalry with Joe Monday, I don't ever mean like we're in competition. I just feel like we're always doing things for the community or doing things in the fighting game space, and they're similar time zones. So I wonder when the first our Street Fighter tournament was, and I wonder when the first A4 Arena was. I also used to run a podcast called the A4 Auditorium. And I had some phenomenal guests on. I had like L.I. Joe, I had Commander Jesse, Stupendous. Sheehan was one of my favorite guests. Justin Wong did the first episode. Brawley lit. Like, we had some great guests when I was running this podcast. I'm sure it's like 3 years now since I've done this, but the A4 Auditorium was a great time. But my favorite guest, or at least my favorite moment, Sheehan might be my favorite guest, but my favorite moment was Smug came on. And Smug told the story of how he played $1,000 money match with I'm Still a Daddy in Street Fighter 4. Have you heard about this at all?
I have not. This is new to me.
So Smug and I'm Still a Daddy have a money match in Street Fighter 4. This is Guile versus Dudley. This is at EVO, and there's been a little back and forth, and they're talking about basically $1,000 money match. Smug and I'm Still a Daddy are not quiet players. You know, they're both talented. They're both sort of disrespectful. Smug is not prepared for this money match. Let me elaborate. Smug is certainly prepared when it comes to Street Fighter players. He's an exceptional player. He may be one of the greatest, especially when you combine entertainment value with skill. I don't know who competes with Smug. His stream is so fucking funny, and he's so talented. You know, it was such a delight having him on this podcast. But let me explain why he wasn't prepared for this match with I'm Still a Daddy. He had $20 in his pocket. They're playing a first to 10. I'm Still a Daddy is not the nicest guy. I don't want to suggest that I'm Still a Daddy would have beat up Smug, but if you see his stream, he's not like super kind and, oh yeah, it's okay that you only have $20 in your fucking pocket. Smug showed up $900 short for this fucking money match. And thank God he drops the first two games. He goes down 0-2. Looks like he's going to lose, and he pulls it back and eventually beats I'm Still a Daddy. But a lot of people don't know he never had the money for that money match. Showed up empty-handed. So that was one of my favorite stories from the A4 Auditorium. And maybe someday I'll bring that podcast back. I don't know if you've had any trouble with this, but when I did it, I would have a hard time finding guests. I always wanted A-list people to do my podcast. I'm reaching out to all these fighting game players, you know, who have 10,000 followers on Twitter, and, you know, the small level of celebrity, and they're not even replying to my DMs. It got fucking exhausting. So I just stopped doing it. I also didn't have the help. This is in tandem, shout out to Joe Monday and the phenomenal human being he is, but also the R Street Fighter crew. I know there's so many talented people behind the scenes helping out with the podcast. I'm sure he gets help with questions, with finding guests with suggestions of topics. That team is phenomenal. It's the thing I really have always wanted to build with A4. I just never harnessed the power of like the FGC and at least in Reddit form. So shout out to what Joe Monday has done, and shout out to all other fighting game podcasts. But yeah, that was one moment. I can give you another one, or if there's a ton of questions, we can take some. Whatever you want to do, boss.
I have no time limit. I was just trying to keep it for you. So please, by all means, tell more. I will say, to answer a quick question from you, the premise for this show, Some Random, was always just like, I want to be able to give a platform to a lot of people who might not have been able to have a voice be heard before, or like this is their first time like doing an interview and shit like that. So for me, finding guests hasn't been a big issue, but getting people to agree to be on and like comfortable behind the microphones. And like we've talked about this in public, so like I'll call him out, like Rushdown, who's a great Urian player. That motherfucker will not come on the show. He's just like, I'm scared of microphones, I guess. I don't know. He's just like, I don't want to be on a microphone and like do a podcast. Like I'm afraid people, what will they say about me or whatever. Like I don't know what his problem is. He's just like, no microphones for me. I'm always looking. Like if anyone from the A4 community is like, hey, I would love to come on and do the show, please, by all means. Like I have no fucking, like I don't give a shit who you are. Like come on the show, we'll talk, we'll do everything. I'll give you the same treatment that I gave Andre, that I gave Joe Monday, that I gave fucking Brett Bayonne, Shaper of Stories, when I had him on. You guys will get all the same treatment. I love having guests, and I love hearing stories.
Get Chills, get Rob. I mean, there's a lot of players, but Chills and Rob would be great to have on. Knuckle Dew was my Rushdown. Knuckle Dew, so I reach out to him like, hey man, fun fact, I'm still banned in Knuckle Dew's stream for beating him in the Guile mirror in Street Fighter 4. I tried to type in his chat today, and I'm banned because I remember one day I was playing on the stream. And he picked Zangief and beat me in the Zangief mirror. I'm like, fuck that, pick Guile then. He picks Guile. I pick Guile, beat him in the Guile mirror, and he's like, you know what? Fuck you, Andre, and ban me. But anyway, good dude, Dane. I'm like, yo, this podcast is going really well. You should come on. He's like, Andre, you know I love you. You know you're a good dude. I'm not going to sit down for an hour or 2 hours and talk. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's going to be fun. He's like, I'm not an extrovert. I'm not going to do a podcast. So I don't know what it is. Intimidated by microphones, but super talented. Shout out to Dudang. Never did the podcast, but like politely replied, which is more than I can say. I mean, when this stream ends, I can tell you who the dickheads in the FGC are who think they're Hollywood, but
absolutely. Look, that's for off show. That's for backstage. Y'all can fuck off. You're not hearing that one. But no, man. I'll let you go ahead with your other story if you'd like to tell it. I won't stop.
PR Rug. PR Rug was my rival. I beat him on stream a bunch. I guess I'll summarize this one as I don't want to take up too much time, but PR Rug was my internet rival. I would beat him and take a bunch of years. Shout out to Rug. He beat a lot from my platform. No one more than Justin Wong. Justin Wong did more for me in the Street Fighter 4 days than anyone in the community. That dude's so awesome, and I owe him my whole stream. But PR Rog was someone who begrudgingly gave me viewers every time he would lose to me in ranked, and I'd call him out. And this is, I think, probably my second trip to Evo, but I thought I'd do something really big and put myself on the map. I did a Hulk Hogan cosplay, okay? I put on a yellow tank top. I painted on a blonde beard. I had the bandana. I'm like, oh, yeah, brother, this year at Evo, I'm beating PR Rog to get out of my pool. Like, I'm talking the most shit, dressed up as Hulk Hogan. I ripped my shirt off. I'm like, oh, yeah, brother. I'm like, the shittiest cosplay you can imagine. There's video of it out there. I certainly have it on my YouTube, but it's hidden. If you find it, good on you. But every time someone posts it in my Discord, I like delete it and time them out and ban them because I want this to go away. But it is a really funny moment. I dressed up like Hulk Hogan, called out PR Rog. It was fucking hilarious. And then, of course, he bodies me in tournament. I didn't make it out of pools. He beat me. I tried, but I was just into it, man. I'm into the FGC. I've been stealing his viewers for months. People are like, yo, you have PR Rog in your bracket. I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm like a shitty video calling him out. This is the Stone Ages fighting games. But he's a good sport. He's a friend. Eduardo, he's such a good dude. He's always playing. I don't see him anymore because I don't play Hearthstone, but he's always playing Diablo. And I'll always message him. I'm like, why are you such a jerk? And he's like, I'm not the jerk. You're the one who made the shitty video. And I'm like, later, man. He's one of the people who helped me out a lot, whether intentionally or inadvertently. He was a good dude in the beginning for my stream. So shout out to him. Shout out to that moment. Justin Wong also. Those this was back when they were all EG. They were all very kind to me.
Yeah. Well, look, you're a man of great passion, and no one can fault you for that. All right. You got heart, and you can't coach that, kid. All right. You got something a lot of people don't have. I appreciate the intensity. Oh man, that's a great fucking story. I'm gonna find that video. Come hell or high water, I'm gonna
Dude,
find that
an
video.
easier video to find, go on YouTube and search PR Rog, A4Andre at Evo, and listen to Gutex and Mike Ross cook me on commentary. I got blown up in game and on commentary. I miss Mike. I still talk to Ryan to this day. Shout out to those two. Those two are great. But you can find that video. You might not find me shirtless as Hulk Hogan, but you can find me getting bodied. Anyways. So.
No, you are all good. You're all good. So quick questions from the chat before I ask you our last question, get you out of here. Dadman wants to know, being a trainer, what kind of things do you do for your physical well-being while playing video games or streaming for 4+ hours a day?
I don't do it anymore. I used to do a ton of things while on this chair. I should get back to doing it. I used to set a sub goal on stream of just 4 subs. If we hit 4 subs for that day, I'd just drop and do 20 push-ups. And someday we'd crush that goal and we'd hit it 4 times. We'd get 12 subs and I'd be doing tons of push-ups, and that always made me feel great. I also do run streaks. So from Thanksgiving to New Year's, I run a mile a day for, it's over 30 days, but just a mile a day every day, just to keep my cardio up. I do a summer and winter one of those. I work out at the gym. I mean, I'm at the gym working out every day, so I don't have to do a ton while I'm in the chair. It's actually rest and relaxation for me here. But, a couple days a week, I go hard at the gym. Every day I'm picking up something heavy and putting it back down. So I don't have to worry too much about my stream time, but I used to do push-ups. And I've heard similar things. I've heard players doing push-ups when they lose or when they win to motivate them to stay active. So maybe something like that. Maybe I would say skip the push-ups and go to squats. Squats are such a good exercise, squats and jump squats. Push-ups are going to be great and build your triceps and pecs, but lower body's almost everything. I would say get some squats in when you lose. That's my suggestion.
All right, yeah, damn, fair enough. Chills wants to know, how do you create a space where it's not just a stream but a more welcoming community? How did you foster what you have now?
By listening. This is a lot like the political conversation we had earlier. A lot of people go live, and they try really hard to win the game. They don't really care about the chat. Someone will come in chat and just say, so let's say you're streaming, Sriracha, and your viewer count is a little low, chat's a little dead, and someone comes in and says Abigail sucks. Well, if your viewer count is low, if you don't already have that community, you don't really have the privilege of getting into an argument about Abigail. And what you should really do is embrace them. What you should do is envision. It was Chills that asked that question. Chills, you should envision that you're Tom Hanks in Castaway, and you should envision that regardless of what that person said in your chat, barring homophobic, racist, whatever, really hateful shit, you should envision that they are Wilson, the volleyball, and you should envision that they're the only person you have to talk to. You should ask them questions. You should get to know them. Oftentimes in my stream, I ask people, what their tag. A lot of the interview questions you're asking me, what their tag means, what their day job is, just who they are. And then usually the chat gets to a point where I can't individually ask people questions and I have to respond to questions myself. But if you want to create a community, the first thing you have to do is care about the people who care about you. To some degree, when they click on your stream, they care about you. They've already committed the first step to watching your content. You need to care as much as they do. When they say, oh, what does Sriracha Flash mean? You can't just tell them that you love Sriracha and Xbox threw Flash on top of it, right? I know we talked about your username before, and that's not the story, but it can't be a closed-ended response. You have to ask questions and genuinely ask questions that you care to hear the response of. That way, you'll remember things about them. And you'll actually build friendships and bonds, because the individual friendships and bonds are what create the community, right? So if you're a smaller content creator, which I know Chills is, I would recommend on forming individual relationships and being a welcoming streamer or player, and that sort of fosters the idea of creating or at least the goal of creating a more welcoming and whole community, I guess would be my suggestion.
Damn, Dre, just all kinds of fucking knowledge. Look, I'm happy that I'm picking your brain about this, because I'm like, every bit of advice, I'm just like, well, this is how I'm going to get better. Like, I'm happy that Dre's here to fucking help me get out of this hole that I'm in. But no, that's excellent advice, yeah. And I wished I had a more exciting, tag, day behind my name, but, it is what it is. But no, I wholeheartedly agree.
I like the name. I like the name. I was just
Yeah,
making a point that you can't just. I can't just say, "Oh, I didn't get a raise at Best Buy," and then go back to Street Fighter. Right? I have
yeah,
to tell a long form shitty story and then inquire. Why is your name Sriracha Flash? Do you like the hot sauce? These sorts of open ended responses. These sorts of um, I don't know, just conversations, certain questions are important to fostering a community or a stream. And how dare you say you're in a hole? You're doing phenomenal.
oh,
So many people would kill to ever reach double digits in their stream, right? You do. So
yeah.
you've overcome a hurdle already, and please pat yourself on the back and don't take it lightly. It takes a lot to get people in watching your stream. You've done great.
Yeah, no, I only say a whole because all the time that I invest in this damn thing. I don't mean a whole as far as
Right.
viewers. I'm 100% grateful for everyone that comes through this stream. This has given me an opportunity to talk to so many people and hear so many stories I never would have gotten the chance to. So I'm incredibly grateful. I can never say enough nice things about the community that comes through and the people that stop in. I know we have a couple regulars around here who I owe a lot to. So no, a whole is the wrong word to use, but yeah, no, I'm very, very grateful. Last chat question from Newman, and then we'll get back to my last question. Any thoughts about Fast and the Furious 9? No. No. No fucking thoughts.
It's a great question. It's a phenomenal question. Yeah, I would assume an Abigail Main would care a lot about cars, and being a car guy, A4Andre, I started with imports and then moved into domestics. I just missed the first. No, that has to be a question. I just missed the first Fast and Furious, and the Paul Walker thing is sad, but we can stop. We can stop doing those movies, right? They did a TV show, no? I think there's a Fast and Furious TV show now.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's like in the works or it had just come out.
What do you mean you're not excited for Fast 9? You're an Abigail man. You gotta love cars and everything car related, especially Fast and Furious 9 and the TV show.
All right. Well, look, I'm in the same boat. I enjoyed the shit like unabashedly of like Fast and the Furious 1 and 2, and then like more recently it's gotten like a little too ridiculous. Where I'm like, all right, like this isn't even about the cars anymore. This is just like go fast the movie.
Holding a helicopter, the Rock's like pulling the helicopter down with one arm, and you're like, oh, so he's Abigail. Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. Or like when they jump a tank in like the 7th movie. So
there you go.
Yeah, bro. Like, yeah, the spin-off series Hobbs and Shaw. Like, I'm about that because like I live that Dwayne Johnson life. Like that dude's a fucking inspiration to everyone.
He is a legend.
I shout outs to fucking Dwayne Johnson playing defensive tackle at University of Miami. Fucking chasing the San Diego Aztecs mascot with his own spear back in the day. Which is like a great story from college football. But no, like it's not that I don't care about Fast and the Furious. It's just like I've lost touch with the Fast and the Furious since like I watched Tokyo Drift and I was like, okay, like I see where it's going. And then like Fast 5 came out and like Fast 5 was one I was working in a video store and the trailer played every day for Fast 5 and I was like, fuck this series. Like never again am I gonna watch a single one of these fucking movies. And somehow I get suckered into watching them. But it's like the Resident Evil movies where I'm like, I liked the games, I hate this movie. Like the Fast and Furious movies, I'll watch them, but I'm like, I don't give a shit about any of this.
How could you still fucking care?
Dude, there's people like my stepdad. He goes to the theaters opening day for those movies. And
no shit. Is it just the masculinity? It's like the Rock fights Vin Diesel. Like you care about just how alpha they can get, or I don't know why I would see it.
Yeah, like I imagine that's the only thing. Like that it has to be the only. Like he just wants to see that man meat just fucking slapping. Just like it takes 30 gallons of baby oil to get those fuckers on the set in the first place, looking all glistening like that. Like
Have you heard about the contracts where they can't lose fights? Like these action stars are like, I have to win a certain number. Have you heard about this at all?
No, what? All right, now.
Yeah, so like all of the action stars have in their contract how many fights they can lose, how many times they can get fake punched. This is a real thing. These are the dudes that we're calling hyper masculine, not the dudes actually in the arena fighting. That is gay, right? Wrestling, jiu-jitsu, that's homoerotic, and how dare you be a wrestler? But The Rock, who has in his contract that he can only get punched 6 times. I shouldn't accuse him. I forget who it was, but celebrities out there. They don't even want to take a fake punch.
Look, I'll talk shit on The Rock. Like I say things like the dude's inspirational because he fucking does a lot of shit. But if he's got a rider that's like, 4 punches max, nah, you eat shit, Dwayne Johnson. Fucking go out and do something, all right? I saw you cooking a foot on a grill in that one shitty movie, so like, you fucking go out and take a couple more punches. Jesus Christ.
Omi, take a fake punch. You got a stunt double anyway. Just fucking
yeah.
use a fake fight. No one cares.
Oh my god, no, that's fucking hilarious. I didn't know that was a thing, but I could 100% like Jason Statham. That's another one that that's insulting to hear that about. Like, goddamn, Jason Statham, like. Be happy that they gave an acting career to some bald asshole with a goatee. You look like everyone down at the gas station. Like, Jesus Christ. Be happy you have what you have. Take a couple more punches.
They're not even real punches. There's somebody who takes actual punches. Take the fake punch, bro.
Yeah, take your goddamn fake punch. Oh, man. All right. Well, look, with all that out of the way, Dre, I'll throw you our last question, which isn't even a question. It's a platform. It's a soapbox for you to stand on and get anything off your chest you want to talk about, anything that's on your mind. Doesn't have to be serious. Could be like, hey man, these kids' cartoons these days fucking whack. Anything that's on your mind, this is your opportunity to get it off your chest and talk about it now.
Yeah, so normally I've been doing a ton of podcasts, and this is usually my sign off. Fuck it, I'll plug the thing. Normally, I don't plug anything. I've already been on Twitch for 5 years. I'm partnered. I have over 300 subs. I'm so fortunate to have what I have. I usually use this time to plug other people, and I will. But let me say, if anybody's watching and wants to hang out, this weekend, Saturday, I'll be attempting a 24-hour stream. I've done like 4, 5, 6. I've done a lot of them, but I'll probably do a 24-hour stream straight into the A4 Arena. So Saturday afternoon, after my son's wrestling meet, I'll be streaming nonstop until the A4 Arena on Sunday afternoon morning. So it'll probably end up being like 30 hours. But I'm going to do a long stream because it's my birthday. So just come by and say hello regardless of what time. I'll be live for, probably 30 fucking hours. Normally I don't plug anything, but this is going to be an extended period of time. So if you see me suffering and for some reason you're awake at that 18, 20-hour mark, pop in and tell a joke about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But normally, I always give this sign-off, and I'd like to give this in addition to that shitty commercial. Support your content creators. If you're watching this stream and you're not subscribed, if you watch our Street Fighter Weekly on Monday, or even the one on Friday for the West Coast, if you're watching any of these tournaments, if you're watching any of this content, and you can support it, please do. So many people have Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus, and like now that The Mandalorian's over, shut Disney Plus down. You don't need 3, 4 services. Chip in, throw a coin to your Witcher. Please fucking support your favorite streamer because they're volunteering their time, and obviously you don't owe them. But if you want the content to continue, it is super beneficial. It behooves you to support that content so it can continue being your favorite content on the internet. Support your favorite streamer, Joe Monday, Sriracha Flash. All these guests, I'm sure at the bottom, at the character select screen, have a fucking Patreon. What's the one where you get coffee? I forget that link. I have a Patreon and OnlyFans, whatever the fuck they have supported.
Ko-Fi, that's the one.
Ko-Fi.
Yeah, Kofi, I think. Yeah.
Ko-Fi, Patreon, OnlyFans. I'm not fucking joking. Support the Patreon. Even if you don't want to see the titties, support it. Support it. Contribute. Buy a shirt when Reddit, runs these sponsorships. It doesn't seem important, but it is of the utmost importance. I promise if you want content to continue, support the fuck out of it. I guess that's it.
Well, thank you, Dre. That 100%. Like, I will never ask for subs and shit like that to come into me because I always feel weird about it. But I respect the fuck out of people that are like, hey, if you've got Twitch Prime, like, feel free to send it my way. Because every time I try it, I feel weird. I'm like, man, like, it feels gross for me to be, like, asking for shit. But at the same time, when people do it, I'm like, fuck yeah, man, get that money. And 100%, like, support the streamers that you guys enjoy watching. Be it this show, be it Dre's show, anything. If you go out and you see someone that, like, just hit affiliate, man, like, really happy to do this, fucking throw them $5. That will mean the world to them. Getting that first emote slot, fucking awesome. Getting the second emote slot, that's, like, a feather in the cap. That shit means a lot to a lot of people. And that's, like, at 15 subs or something like that. It's not a lot, and it really does help people, like, getting that first Twitch check, which is, like, your first $100. It comes after 9 months of fucking streaming affiliate, and you got a couple subs. That shit means a lot. Could come at a crucial time when they really need that $100, man. A4Andre, thank you. You're too fucking kind.
We gotta practice what we preach, right? I'm not just a vegan. I'm on podcasts talking about the animals and the people. It's the least we can do to.
Well, I'm gonna have to come. I'm gonna have to come through on the fucking the birthday sub this weekend, and I'm gonna have to give subs to people. That's the only way to make this right.
I don't know, but please do come say hello this weekend. I'd love to see you.
Listen, I will be there 110%. But thank you for the message, man. I appreciate it, and y'all, please go watch A4Andre. You will, if you like any of the stuff that I do, I guarantee you, fucking 30 times over, you'll love what Dre does. You'll love what the A4 community does. If you enjoy watching me play Street Fighter V, go watch people who actually know what they're doing in the A4 arena. Go enjoy actual talent and competition. Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern is when that usually starts. But there's always pre-stream, always pre-tournament with a bunch of stuff going on. I think you had Brutus on commentary or playing last weekend. Who, I don't know, maybe he just pops in and out of streams sometimes. I always just hear his voice. But Brutus is excellent. I love that dude. I need to get him on the show sometime.
He'd love to do it. He's such a scrub. Do you know Brutus used to, like, the podcast's over already, but Brutus used to be called Shove Cats. And that username came from him getting banned. His username used to be Shove Cats Up My Ass. And he was a Zangief player that I nurtured from a child. He was so bad at Street Fighter 4. Like, literally never beat me for 4 years. And now he's so good, and I'm so proud. Shout out to the A4 community. Helping him grow, and shout out to this community you're building. Thank you for doing these podcasts and giving a voice to some of these smaller content creators. I'm gonna have to check out some of these previous. I'm looking at these thumbnails. I'm like, hold on, this person was on here. This was on here. Who's the Vega main? She's with the Yakuza. She's got a Yakuza.
Lightbright JPG.
Lightbright is so dope.
Dude,
I know half these guests. I just don't know them by name. Who doesn't hate No Good Citizen? I gotta listen to some of these.
Oh man, the No Good episode was fantastic. I had
Which one's the best?
What's that?
Which one's the best? You said No Good was good.
All right. So now you're making me choose amongst my kids.
Yeah, I gotta pick.
Oh man. All right. So it's semi-recent, but I think the Joe Monday one went super well, man. I'm gonna pull a Dre, and I'm just gonna walk the center line here. I think the Joe Monday one was excellent. He did a fantastic job. Sure. He tells a monster story. Like every time like we brought something up, he's like, I have 3 stories for this, and I was like, by all means, fucking spill the details, man. Like I can't honestly, if you wanted to, I could do the show for 3 hours. Like I would just fucking sit and listen to stories forever. Because I grew up listening to stories. So I think that's why I started the show, as I just like hearing people's stories. When I had Brett Bayonne on, Shaper of Stories, that was a really good episode. That one was the first one for me that really changed the program. Because Brett and I are good friends. For anyone that doesn't know Brett, he runs Weekend Warriors, the YouTube channel, formerly of Super Couch Fighters. He's part of the Super Beer Brothers YouTube channel. They have like a couple 100,000 subscribers, some good ass number like that. And he also streams, but him and I are good friends at this point. We met through Street Fighter V, and we just play each other all the time. And we talk, we hang out, blah, blah, blah. And before the microphones were going on, me and Brett are hanging out, having a good time. Then as soon as mics went live and the show started, I slipped into this interviewer mode, where all of a sudden I was interviewing my friend, and it felt really weird and stilted because Brett was still in like conversation mode, which is the way I've always wanted the show to be. But I slipped into like this weird fucking like, now I'm asking questions weird. I'm stuttering over myself because I went into this weird like podcasting mode and not like hanging out with my friend mode. And from that point on, that episode is not really a mess, but it's definitely you can see where I go, this is fucked up and I can't do this anymore. So from that point on, the show's been completely different. I've really tried to embrace just like hanging out with the guest and talking and doing our thing together, which is why I really appreciated the Lightbright and then her husband, Ocelot Youth, who's 2 character slots over from No Good. When those 2 were on, they were excellent. I love them. Those are like real flowing conversations. Were
they both on at the same time?
Not at the same time. They did separate episodes. I wanted to do it at the same time, and they were like, we would rather do separate ones to like showcase each other, and I was like, fucking beautiful. I love it. And so we did. We did Ocelot Youth, and a couple days later, Lightbright came on, and those 2, man, they belong together. They are the perfect married couple. They're great. But no, them, No Good, Shaper of Stories, and Joe Monday. And this episode, honestly, you should go back and listen to this one. It's probably the best one I've done. To be to be honest, look at that. That's how you kiss the ass of the guest, folks.
This is my favorite, obviously.
Yeah, clearly. Why would you even ask? Of course, this has been my favorite one. One of the shows I listen to, the After Disaster, every episode is like, this is the worst episode we've ever done. And sometimes that's how I feel when I get off the mics. I'm like, fuck, like that was the worst one I've ever done. And then people are like, I had a lot of fun. I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. Like, I don't feel like I did a good job. And St. Cola. St. Cola was on right after. You'll see this idiot in like a Viking horn hat. That's my brother-in-law. And I had him on, and my actual brother. But right next to them, St. Cola. When I had St. Cola on, St. Cola is a monster storyteller. Like, that dude is awesome. His grandma, like, got him started in video games and shit like that, in fighting games. He tells an awesome story of everything that he's done. So yeah, shout outs to him. Thomas Winkley. Everyone.
Color does great work on commentary. It sounds like you've had the star-studded, or at least the most entertaining round of guests. A lot of these faces I haven't seen, but I'm sure they're all the ones you've talked about. I certainly know is entertaining.
Yeah, they're good folks. We had the Yace crew on. They're all good. But yeah, I'll stop talking your ear off about my fucking guests. They're all good folks. I recommend if you're gonna start an episode, like I said, Joe Monday, Shaper of Stories, any one of them. You can't go wrong. Dadman Ryan Hacker was on an episode, talked about like hacking into GM cars, which is a great fucking story. Like going to HackCon and like, I'm butchering the story, but essentially they at the HackCon they get points for breaking into cars and like using cars to get information in ways that they shouldn't be able to, and they are able to. And his team got big points for being able to call up GM, convince GM through their OnStar system that they owned the car and they needed to get into it and start it, which they did, even though the car belonged to literally no one. It was a showcase car. And they convinced GM and OnStar they owned the car. They got in, OnStar started the car for them, they were ready to go. They could have drove that fucker out of the station if they wanted to. That's a great episode of him telling his story. But if y'all want to catch those stories, SrirachaFlash.com has everything. That's all my shit is SrirachaFlash.com has every episode. Links to Spotify, SoundCloud, Google, Apple, everything. That has all the shit. And thanks to our wonderful web developer Dadman for putting that together. If you want to support me by buying a t-shirt or a fucking sticker, there's a Teespring in like the links, the description. It'll probably be in the description for this show. That'd be great. If you want to support A4Andre, go to him, A4Andre on Twitch, and subscribe there and buy his shit. That being said, I'll stop rambling on and on and on. Dre, if people want to find you on the internet, where can they find you?
Yeah, it's A4Andre on everything. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, MySpace, Tinder, Grindr, whatever. It's A4Andre and all that shit. Just Google me.
Ah, damn. You took my bit without realizing you took my bit, and I love it, so I don't have to do it anymore. Because I usually do it like this. And if you want to find me on the internet, you can find me Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pornhub, everything at Sriracha Flash. And that's where you can find me. Or just Google me. You'll find tournament highlights, and then like 3 pages down you'll find the podcast. So like it's all good. I've always wanted to put the show on Pornhub and be like, the podcast is actually also there. The problem is that sometimes my daughter walks in and she wants to ask questions, and she's 3, so like I can't be having her like, hey, what's up, and like fucking make your dick bigger on the side of the screen. Like that can't be a thing that happens. Yeah, so that's all that fun stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, Pornhub, check us out. We're both on Pornhub soon.
Oh man. Well, anyways, thank you all for listening. This has been a wonderful stream. Thank you, Drake, for coming on. This has been an awesome storytelling for me and listening to you. This has been great. But thank you all for listening. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful night.